Hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel for this week's Toolbox safety topic video. Now today's video is 3 in a series of 4. The first week we talked about the 3 dangerous attitudes towards fall prevention or fall protection, or falls. The second video we talked about some of the fall hazards that we might face while on a construction job site. In this week, we're going to be talking about the prevention of those falls. Once we recognize those hazards, some of the ways that we prevent those falls. But before we get started, make sure that you give me a thumbs up down below here to encourage me to make more videos of this type. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel where you will find additional videos of this nature, along with other safety-related videos and leadership training videos. Let's go ahead and before we get started, somebody asked me the other day, when you subscribe to somebody's channel, does it cost you? No, there's no subscription cost. What that does, YouTube will send you a notice letting you know that I've posted another video. That's all that means. And the thumbs up are real important too, because that lets YouTube know that you're gaining popularity and other people might like your videos, and they'll put it out there for others to see. But let's go ahead and get started. Today we're going to be talking about fall prevention. A willing, positive attitude towards safety will help make a safer work environment. Now, I'd like to go back here. Now, this is this part 2 of the PowerPoint that we started last week for the Susan Harwood, the OSHA Susan Harwood grant. This is part 2 of that PowerPoint we started last week. This PowerPoint can be found on the OSHA website. Look under Susan Harwood Grant, and it's in Spanish and English, and it may be under some different languages. OSHA is a wonderful resource for finding training material on safety. But let's get back into it. I just wanted to throw out that credit. All right. Construction work performed at 6 feet or higher above a lower level requires fall protection. Some fall protection methods include guardrails, warning lines, fall arrest systems, and floor covers. Let's talk about guardrails. Guardrails must have a top rail, a mid rail, and a toe board. The top rail must be at least 42 inches from the working surface, and the mid rail anywhere from 19 inches to 21 inches. All guardrails must be constructed with a top rail and a mid rail. The top rail must support 200 pounds of force downward and outward. Now let's talk about cable guardrails. Cable guardrails must meet the same rules as wood guardrails. The top rail must be at least 42 inches high and resist up to 200 pounds. That means downward deflection. You cannot have any downward deflection on that top rail and mid rail. I think it's a ½ inch or something over a span, but it can't have any deflection. Steel cable guardrails must have top rails flagged every 6 feet. Those guardrails, the cable guardrails, when you're on the building and there's a sky in the background or other buildings of the same color in the background, it may be hard to see those wires, so those cables. So it is required that we flag them every 6 feet. Now, a critical component of cable guardrails are the clamps used for the steel cable system, and they must be placed correctly. Now, if you'll look here, this clamp is composed of a U-bolt, a portion that they call the saddle, and the 2 nuts that hold the saddle to the U-bolt. The U-bolt goes on the dead end of the line. The old saying is never saddle a dead horse. Here's an example of how not to do it. There's the dead end, and they've got the cable, the saddles on the dead end of the cable. Remember, never saddle a dead horse. Let's talk about warning lines. Warning lines are used to keep workers away from an unsafe edge. A warning line must be at least 6 feet away from the edge. Now, there's some different criteria if you're working from a rooftop. You gotta have 15 feet back from the edge if you're working from a rooftop, your warning line. Now, warning lines must withstand 16 pounds of tipping force. And remember, they're warning lines and not guardrails. The warning line must be 34 inches from the ground. You got to maintain those warning lines and report any unsafe condition to your supervisor. Never work in an area if the warning line has been knocked down or damaged. Now let's talk about personal fall arrest systems. A personal fall arrest system components are the body harness, which is this webbing you see across his back and around his legs, the lanyard, which runs from the D-ring to the anchorage, and then of course the anchorage point. I'm not sure about this anchorage point. I've got some concerns. That may not be 5,000 pounds. That's one thing we always have to pay attention to. The anchorage must be capable of supporting a minimum load of 5,000 pounds. Make sure the body harness is worn properly. The chest strap is correct and adjusted, and the D-ring is the center of the shoulder blades. Here you see a fellow doesn't have his quite adjusted right. It's not adjusted properly, and loose leg straps here. Make sure you inspect your harnesses before you don them, looking for cracks, breaks, burns, cut webbing. Make sure you adjust it well when you wear it, put it on, and it should be free from other visible damage as well. And then you have the lanyard. A lanyard must be in good condition and free from visible damage. This is a dual-legged lanyard used to provide 100% tie-off protection. Be careful with these pelican openings here. Some contractors require, unless you're hanging steel or working on rebar, that that you use the 25/32 opening, the smaller hooks. The lanyard must be attached to the D-ring on the body harness. Okay? Never anchor or tie off to pipes, wood structures, electrical wires, electrical conduit, or other areas not designed for anchorage points. Remember, an anchorage must be capable of supporting 5,000 pounds. The anchorage point is the place where you tie off to or hook off to. And once again, the anchorage point must support the force of a person falling, which is 5,000 pounds. A lifeline is used to allow a worker to stay tied off while he moves through the work area. It's a horizontal lifeline. That means it's horizontal to the work surface, and his hook, and he can walk back and forth while he stays hooked off to that cable. Now, workers must always be tied off when working with a personal fall arrest system if they're exposed to a fall of greater than 6 feet. Let's talk about floor covers. The cover must be marked to make sure everyone knows it is a safety device. People's heard the horror story where the young man was sent to get a piece of plywood, and he saw a piece laying on the floor, and he picked it up, and as he picked it up, he walked into a hole that was underneath plywood because it wasn't secured or properly marked. All floor holes where an employee could fall through must be covered or guarded, must be secured against moving as well, and be able to support at least 2 times the intended weight. Skylights are another form of floor holes. Never sit, stand, or place any materials on skylights. Pier holes must be protected or guarded as well. Either a guardrail system or a hole cover can be used. All right, let's have a few questions. While working in the construction industry, at what height is fall protection required? Is it 4 feet, 10 feet, 6 feet, or 8 feet? The correct answer is 6 feet. Guardrails are designed to protect you from falling. The top rail must be how many inches high and must be able to withstand how many pounds of force? Is it 42 inches high and 300 pounds of force, or 36 inches high and 300 pounds of force? Or is it 42 inches high and 200 pounds of force, or 36 inches high and 200 pounds of force? The correct answer is 42 inches and 200 pounds of downward or outward force. Guardrails can be made of wood or steel cables. When using steel cables, the cable clamps must be placed in an alternating direction, with a U-bolt on the dead end of the cable, with the saddle on the dead end of the cable, or none of the above. Clamps are not required. The correct answer is with the U-bolt on the dead end of the cable. Never saddle a dead horse. When inspecting a harness before you use it, you should look for the following: cuts and abrasions, burns, or other visible damage, or all of the above. The correct answer is D, all of the above. Floor holes can include which of the following? Pier holes, skylights, and stair openings, pier holes, skylights, and window openings, skylights, stair openings, and doorways, skylights, stair openings, and open-sided floors. Well, since floor holes are in the floor, the correct answer would be A, pier holes, skylights, and stair openings. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to talk to your supervisor, or feel free to get a hold of me and we'll cover any concerns that you may have. That's it for this week's Toolbox safety topic. Thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure you give me a thumbs up down below here to encourage me to make more videos of this type. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel where you'll find additional videos of this nature, other safety-related videos, and leadership training videos. And until we see each other again, take care of yourself, because you're number one. Look out for your co-workers and help ensure their safety. Have a grateful day, and remember, I will see you in the field.